Hey guys, there's a fast-paced, dynamic movement shooter taking over Roblox. Welcome to Now, this video is meant to serve as an introduction and comprehensive guide to the game. I've been actively testing the game since the second beta test in February, and I've gotten to level 50. Redliner is a high-paced, dynamic movement shooter on Roblox and can be quite overwhelming at first. So this will be a full, comprehensive guide on how to play and navigate Redliner. Just to clarify, this is not just a movement guide. This video will cover everything you need to know in its entirety, from the tutorial to weapons to movement. It covers everything. The learning curve isn't as steep as it may seem at first, and this will simplify everything. If you do enjoy or find this helpful in any way, please do like and subscribe, as this video took forever to make, and I genuinely want to be as helpful as possible. But without further ado, this is the ultimate guide to Redliner. As soon as you load into Redliner, it'll ask you if you want to start the tutorial. And you absolutely should, even if you have already watched this video, as it helps teach a lot of the basics about how to control your character and a few fundamental combat mechanics. It teaches your basic controls, which would be dashing, wall running, sliding, grappling, slashing, shooting, and parrying. And honestly, you just have to mess around in-game to get a feel for how they work. Parrying is particularly interesting because you can parry just about any attack. You can parry slashes, you can parry bullets. You can even parry ground slams. You also have to be looking at where the attack is coming from in order to successfully parry. They're an extremely useful tool in your arsenal and add an extra dimension to combat. That covers the tutorial, and when you finish it, you will be sent to the lobby, which introduces you to the rest of the game. There's a lot going on in the lobby, and I'll go over everything you'll see in the menu so you can understand and navigate through it. Let's start off with the game modes. There is a battlegrounds or free-for-all arena, which allows you to fight completely freely, where the only restraint is either your wallet, the weapons you own, or your time. You get to fight many people at once, and it is often very chaotic, perfect for grinding yen, completing contracts, and leveling up. Then there is 1v1, where you're set into one of 3 arenas with one other person in a 5-stock match with any gun of your choosing, as long as you own it, and whoever depletes the other stocks completely wins. 1v1 is extremely useful when trying to practice specific mechanics and become more precise in combat. It is the best way to improve and gives you ample opportunity and space to try new things, though it might not be best for grinding yen unless you want to complete contract. 2v2 is very similar to 1v1, except you have a buddy with you. It uses an entirely different map, you only have 4 lives, and is much more unforgiving if you perform poorly. Then there is the training tab, which allows you to test out different guns and practice your mechanics in an isolated environment. We'll get back to this shortly. You can also set up custom matches in case you want to 1v1 with friends or anybody you may happen to meet. Then you have your shop. You can roll for skins with Crimson, which is the premium currency in Redliner. You can buy skins with Robux, though right now the only thing that is available is the Nihility. You can also look at deals and buy or gift Crimson, but this fortunately isn't the only way to get the premium currency of Redliner, which is something that we will touch on later. Next, we have the arsenal, and this will be the first dense, information-packed section of the video. We'll be going over all the weapons of the game, their stats, and capabilities as they stand right now. First, we have the Redliner. This is the default and currently the only melee weapon in the game. It does 20 damage per hit, and is the core of all combat. For every hit you make, you get 40 heat. For every parry, you get 80. Your skill with just the Redliner determines how capable you are with everything else, and it's the foundation that you have to build off of as a player. For our first gun, we have the Cast Chain. It's the first weapon you spawn with by default, and is reliable for just about every use case in the game. It does a solid damage of 60, has a draw time of 0.75 seconds and takes 100 heat to charge a single bullet with a max capacity of 3. It's the only one-handed weapon in the game, which means that you can also wall run or grapple while using it at the same time, though those mechanics are a bit finicky. While it is the most simple weapon in the game, it cannot be underestimated, as it has the fastest draw time and the most capacity out of every weapon, boasting solid damage and capable of a lot more than it might initially let on. Next, we have the Phoenix, which has quickly gained the reputation of the most toxic gun in the game. It costs 800,000 yen, and what makes the Phoenix unique is that it's the only truly projectile-based weapon in the game, as it shoots an explosive rocket rather than a bullet. It does 140 direct damage and 70 explosion damage, though it might be slightly less depending on how many people the rocket hits at once. It has a draw time of 0.8 seconds and takes 180 heat to charge a single bullet with a max capacity of 1. The nerf Stunnergun has quite heavily affected its performance, where direct shots can now be parried and don't have one-shot capabilities, though it does destabilize when parried. Part of what makes the Phoenix so versatile is its maneuverability, as you can launch yourself with a rocket while taking a bit of damage, and it can launch you to as fast as 180 units per second, which makes it very potent in free-for-all or 2v2. Something else is that it can also deal quite instability to other players, even if they parry with the explosion damage, making it quite overwhelming to go against in the hands of a skilled player. Then, we have the Siege. It costs 2 million yen, and its primary quirk, being a double-barrel shotgun, is that you shoot 2 shells for every bullet that you build up. It does 80 to 40 damage per shot, and it shoots twice per bullet, making it fully possible to kill someone with just one capacity at point blank. It also has a draw time of 1.1 seconds, takes 140 heat to charge a single bullet, with a max capacity of 2. Like the Phoenix, it also has extra maneuverability, as you do launch yourself backwards for every shot you take, sometimes as fast as 140 units per second. It also adds an extra dimension to combat, as you can even miss your first shot on purpose, making your opponent waste a parry, and you can get guaranteed extra tip damage with your second. Its sheer potential for outplay makes it arguably the most underrated weapon in the game. Finally, we have the Monarch. This absolute powerhouse of a weapon costs 8 million yen and boasts 140 damage a hit, meaning that in a normal fight, if you've hit your opponent even just once, they will die. It's very unique in that you initially draw the weapon, scope in, and then shoot, making it the slowest weapon in the game with a draw time of 1.85 seconds, costing 200 heat per bullet, and a max capacity of 1. This extremely long draw time makes it extremely easy to parry, and there are 2 indicators for this weapon being fired, where the first one shows that the weapon is being pulled out, the second is with the sound effect that plays when they scope in, which is when you want to parry. What really differentiates this weapon is that you can wallbang people with it, and shoot multiple people at once with just one bullet, and it's even easier with how the hitbox for the Monarch's bullet is. Due to only having one capacity, you have to be very reserved, attentive to how you use it, but it is without question the best weapon in the game to capitalize on destabilized opponents due to its high damage and wallbanging capabilities. Not only good at capitalizing on these opponents, but it's also great for dealing posture damage when your opponent parries, making it one of the most impressive weapons in the game with the right player. Now, that just about does it for all the weapons in the game. You can also apply any skins that you may have to a weapon you've unlocked, and you're able to get those by rolling for them with Crimson, like I mentioned earlier. The profile tab shows your name, your current title, as well as titles you haven't unlocked. It also shows your contract value, which is the amount of money you've gained with your signature weapon. And your signature weapon is your weapon with the most kills. The profile tab also shows your level, how much more you need to level up to make it to your next milestone. In the bottom corner, you have your contracts. They're kind of like quests that give rewards for completing them. Daily contracts give you 40,000 yen and 75 crimson per contract, and they expire every 24 hours. Weekly contracts give you 350,000 yen
and 180 Crimson per contract, and they expire every Monday at 12 AM, though I'm not sure if it varies for different time zones. They give you Yen and Crimson, which can be used to buy weapons and full skins. You can also use Crimson to buy weapons, but it is objectively a bad idea because it uses all of your Yen and necessary Crimson to buy a weapon. In settings, you have the gameplay, keybinds, and quality tab, which all affect your game in different ways.
Starting off with the gameplay tab, you have your wall run input, and toggle just needs you to press space to roll once to wall run, while hold makes you need to hold it to stay on the wall, and when you release it, you jump off. With toggle, you have to press it again in order to jump off, which is why I personally keep it on hold, because it just gives you a little bit less to worry about, and it is objectively a bit faster as well. Your request mode is who can request a duel you, which can be everyone, just friends, or nobody. Contract notifications are notifications on what contract requests you have completed while fighting in-game. Strafe Assist allows you to airstrafe with just W instead of needing to use A and D like in Counter-Strike or Valorant if you've played them. I personally keep it on because it gives me less to think about while playing, and I can do tech more easily. Dynamic music makes it so that the background music syncs up with your gameplay, like you're getting louder or softer depending on the level of action, and allows beats to line up with shots. It makes the game feel more immersive if you enjoy its music, and honestly, it's awesome. I would recommend keeping this on. Mute music allows you to turn the music on or off in case you like to listen to your own music, or play in silence like a psychopath. FOV is your field of view and determines how much you can see at any given moment while playing the game, and it functions pretty much just like any other shooter. Higher is almost always better in a game like this where you need to keep track of many things going on at once, and it also makes you feel like you're going even faster than you already are. If you're in an intense fight, higher FOV might allow you to see someone trying to jump in from the edge of your sight and act accordingly, and also helps keep track of other players. I personally use max FOV, and I would recommend that you use it as well. It's not much higher than the default FOV, and I only see the benefits of using 100 FOV. Next in settings is the keybinds tab. It is very basic, and these are the default keybinds. I keep pretty much everything the same, except I have my slide on C, which allows me to do movement tech more easily. I have changed my keybinds quite often to better apply different mechanics, but it does take a while to really learn new bindings, so find something that works well and stick with it. Then you have the quality tab. Effect quality is exactly what it says it is. And if you need to reduce lag as much as possible, you should put it on reduced, using visual aesthetics in exchange for performance. Photosensitive mode darkens light flashes for anyone that is photosensitive, and is strongly recommended for them if they are looking to play this game. Shadows can be disabled as well if you're looking to increase performance and visibility.
Now that you know about everything in the main menu, you should learn how to gain better control of your character. If you go to Gamemodes and look just under the tutorial, you'll see the training arena that we talked about earlier. This will help practice your mechanics and improve different skills on your own. The training section is not going to just be me voicing it over, but it's actually going to be me going through it live and kind of just showcasing what is going on in the training section. Here it is. Alrighty, alright, this will be the training section of the video, and this is just going to be me going through the entirety of what you can do in this mode, and there's actually a decent amount. So you have your playground and you have your parry practice. So if I were to just go into the playground really quickly, you'll see that there are these little drones that are flying around, and you just have this little area, right? And this allows you to practice grappling onto the drones, and it gives you just enough space to practice your movement as well. It's very basic. There's not too much going on here, but if you were to go to somewhere like parry practice, you can see that you can practice pairing against different kinds of weapons, and you can pair against any different combinations of these, but for the sake of showcasing, we'll do the caster J. Now, we have the caster J at flatline, which means we'll be the fastest possible. And this is how it would look like on flatline. And if I were to actually just fail really quickly, I can show you like any combination of these. So like, let's just do these. And you'll see that I can even practice shooting these faster than they can shoot me, like with the Monarch. It has a very slow draw time, and I can practice shooting that that drone. And here you have the clashing dummies. Now the clashing dummies will have different speeds. This one is, I believe, 50, 90, and 120. Now, it also tells you what clashes are, but basically, whenever you clash with someone, it's whenever they attack at the same time that you attack, and then y'all don't do any damage to each other. But this will increase the amount of instability that either of y'all have, depending on which one of y'all is faster, right? And because I'm able to do backdash grappling, I'm able to go at a really fast speed, and I'm able to avoid gaining much instability. And this is a really useful tool to be able to practice using different mechanics to speed up, and backdash grappling is the primary mechanic that you'd want to use when going into clashes, right? If I'm not fast enough, this is what happens, and this kind of gives you an idea for how fast you generally want to be in fights. Now, to finish up the training section, you have this little section here, which is effectively just you, the drones, in the air. This kind of lets you just grapple around and grapple onto drones while they're in the air, which kind of simulates how it would be like in game. This isn't something that would typically happen much in 1v1, but rather more so in Battlegrounds just because of how chaotic it is. But it can be a very useful tool and allows you to get free hits on almost anybody. Not very many people are expecting this, and even if they are, you'll be able to trade hits and do more damage. Now, I believe that does it for the training section of this video. And if you've watched it all the way through to this part, then I commend you for doing so, because it's likely taking quite a while to get here. And now that you're here, you'll also be able to learn some basic mechanics, not even just basic, but even some advanced mechanics that you can apply to your own combat from here. And
We will get to that right now. We just talked about training and what you can do, but by this point you might not quite know what to practice just yet. And this section will go over all necessary combat mechanics, including some techs, tips to improve, and things to watch out for. Some basic things that weren't addressed in the tutorial would be the wide slash and the ground slam. The wide slash can be initiated after crouching, being usable and indicated after your sword turns white, and it consumes 2 stamina bars when you use it as opposed to dashing, which uses just 1. It gives you more range, allows you to hit more than one opponent, and can be used to offset the timing of your slash to get an edge on your opponent.
the ground slam is used when you slam yourself into the ground with a grappling hook at speed. If landed on another player, it gives them a sizable amount of instability, around 60%, but if you miss, then you will take posture damage yourself. It is also possible to parry a ground slam, and if you do so, all instability that would be dealt to you reflects back on the opponent, making it a high-risk, high-reward move that requires ample situational awareness.
There are also ziplines that you can interact with by pressing R. They're pretty simple, but allow for a lot more movement tech to be done if you're creative. They build up a lot of momentum and can be used in many different ways, but the likelihood of you using them is actually pretty low, because most fights and interactions aren't around ziplines.
The Slingshot is a basic redirecting mechanic that transfers your momentum from one direction to the other with the elasticity of the grapple, done by grappling into the ground at an angle.
Another redirecting mechanic would be Wallrun Redirects, where when you release a wall run, you instantly redirect all of your momentum from the wall run in the opposite direction by pressing the opposite direction key of where you're wall running.
You can also redirect your momentum using slides. If you're b-hopping at a fast speed, you can change direction quickly by pressing a different directional key and slide the moment you land.
Then there's the Backdash Grappled, B2G for short. which uses the same principles of the Slingshot but amplifies it the dash, contributing to even more speed gain, up to 150 units a second. It's done by doing a backdash and grappling at the exact same time, and it can be quite difficult at times. There's also the slide BDG, done by doing the exact same thing as the BDG, except you incorporate a slide just after you do it. This is a bit more difficult, but results in more consistency and is generally faster, resulting in less speed loss. This is best used when trying to clash with others, as when you use it, you'll notice that there's a noticeable amount of velocity loss over time. The burst of speed that's versatile and can be used for a variety of different mechanics, and when timed properly allows you to win almost any clash. You can also do a slam slide, also known as a sage slide, where when you would normally ground slam, you slide just before you hit the ground, and it transfers that momentum into extra speed while canceling the ground slam. This can help you maintain speed in awkward positions, like after you parry a Phoenix shot, and seamlessly change directions. It can also be used to fake ground slams, baiting out parries from your opponent and increasing their instability. There's also a mechanic called Turbosliding, which is essentially just this.
To do this, you need to use prior momentum into the slide, letting go of W or S, and only holding one directional key while gradually turning in that direction. It can be hard to set up, and it is actually a bit easier to set up with strafe assist off, but the easiest way to set it up would be to BDG like mentioned before. It's a bit hard to apply this to combat, but it can be a good way to be unpredictable.
Every gun in this game does have knockback, and if you're moving forward, shooting normally will kill your momentum, but if you tap slide right when you're about to shoot, you'll retain most of your momentum with every gun. This is known as bracing, and is very useful when in a chase, or you're just trying to keep yourself on the move while shooting. Now, that is the majority of the tech that I use. But if you want even more, there's a full document that's compiled everything that's been discovered in this game so far, and that will be in the description below. And that just about wraps up this whole guide. There are a few quick things I'd like to mention that didn't really fit into the other categories. You can use private servers to mess around in many different ways. Using commands, you can load into different maps, spawn entities, and do a few other things that might help you practice or just have fun. Partying up allows you to invite friends, and if you want to go into the 2v2 match or get into the same battleground server, this would be the best way to do it. You can also choose different servers in different regions so that you can get an ideal ping and are able to play the game in a more consistent way. If you want to interact with the rest of the Redliner community, there is the official Discord server where you're able to interact with other players, ask for help, and keep yourself up to date on the game. There is also the Combat Index, which is a Discord server where you get to compete with others in tournaments, learn more, and get ranked to understand where your current skill lies, allowing you to interact with like-minded people looking to improve as well. I have left several different resources in the description that can help you improve, so please do check those out, as I did learn more about the game through those as well. If you made it through to the end, thank you so much. Again, this took forever to make, so any support would be appreciated. If you enjoyed, please like the video and subscribe so that you can see more content like this in the future. And with that, that finishes this video. Thank you so much for watching. Have an awesome day or night, wherever you are. And I'll see you all in the next video.